One of the things about moving back to the United Kingdom after spending 14 years in the United States.
God, it was that long.
It was that long. Bear in mind, 12 of them, and I rarely say this bit out loud because it makes me want to cry. 12 of them were in Mississippi. Because I only had those 2 years in Philly.
Right.
12 years. My 20s and a good chunk of my 30s, more than half. Just what a waste. What a waste. But yeah, it was 14 years. And one of the things that I've been finding, continued to find, is when it comes to foodstuffs, foods and drinks that I remember from the before times, before I moved. When I have them now, I don't know if it's because they're not as good as I remember them, or UK restrictions have made them worse. It's a coin toss.
I mean, I think the answer's usually both.
Usually both, yeah. But there have been some snack ones. Like, for example, knickknacks. The snack.
Yeah, you're not a fan of knickknacks anymore.
I loved them. I still like them, except for what used to be my favourite one.
Which is?
It's the rare one. It's the shiny Pokemon of knick-knack snacks. It's lemon and scampi flavour, which is really hard to find. It's not in their multi-bags. You find them in, like, gas stations, if you're lucky. It's like the black Pringles. You only ever see black Pringles in certain places.
This is more encouragement to come back to mine sometime, because the corner shop near me always has the scampi and lemon ones.
Well, here's the thing.
Well, except you're about to say they're not good anymore.
They're not good anymore.
I wouldn't know. I'm not a scampi and lemon eater. I wouldn't know. They've never been good to me.
Although, I have been thinking about it being high time that I come visit again.
Yeah.
But when I finally tracked down another lemon and scampi flavoured knickknacks, I was bitterly disappointed. And I'm not sure if it is because it's not as good as I remember it. But it feels different enough that I'm pretty sure it was the other one, that it was one of the regulation victims, like the jelly and pork pies. Pork pies don't have as much jelly in them as they used to, and the pork pie jelly was the best bit of the pork pie.
On knickknacks, I encountered like a crossover snack this week that I couldn't quite process existed, which is, you know, those old crisps Bugles?
I remember.
Oh, yeah, I love Bugles.
Yeah, the ones what you wear like witches' fingers.
I think they're actually still quite common in the US, I think, but you don't see them over here so much.
So, you can now get them under the brand name Twisters. They're just Bugles, but with the nice and spicy knickknacks flavouring on them, or the rib and saucy knickknack flavouring on them. And I enjoyed them. Didn't know what to make of them. They did confuse my brain a bit, though. That's textures and flavours that don't live together.
Well, the UK's gone on an absolute mad one when it comes to what it's doing with its confection and its snack products. Phoenix's current goal is to make our house consist entirely of Swizzles Matlow branded products, but not have any of the actual Swizzles Matlow, for those who don't know, is a brand of candy in the UK, responsible for many brilliant sweets. There's the other company as well, and both of them are just as bad for this stuff. Barrett's?
Bassett's, I think.
I think it is Bassett's. The amount of products that aren't sweets that they have. I'm a lazy bint, and oftentimes will do my hair with dry shampoo. Just spray it on, jobs are good 'un.
Yeah.
I've been doing that for the past 2 weeks with fruit salad dry shampoo. Fruit salad, one of my favourite sweets. I mean, we're talking top tier confectionery. I'm relieved that the sister sweet, Blackjack's, is not dry shampoo, because even though I know it would just be spray, like the fruit salad one, I would still expect black gunk every time. because there's just something about blackjacks that make me feel like they're made of actual tar, even though I find them delicious. But yeah, it's bath bombs, flavoured like love hearts, fruit salads. There's a fruit salad squeezy sauce. There's drinks, water. There is water flavoured like fruit salads, and wham bars.
I've seen the fruit salad like squash.
Yeah.
The dilute squash that's fruit salads. I've not tried it. I'm aware of its existence.
I tell you what, I recommend the water. The fruit salad water and the wham bar water especially actually tastes exactly like fruit salad and wham, except it's water, so you're winning. Hard to find. I think they're almost entirely exclusive to Iceland stores.
I was gonna say, yeah.
A lot of this shit's in Iceland. Or B&M. You go in B&M, you'll find so many. I can't find fruit salads in the shops, by the way. I have to order them if I want
shops
them.
For bloody years.
And yet there are so many other fruit salads, like products. Basic things like mugs and stuff like that. I've got a lovely sherbet, like the sherbet dip, a sherbet dip mug. But yeah, various hygiene products, soaps and the like. But no actual sweets. And that's how I live. And there was one product I saw that I was immediately disgusted by, but friend of the family, the Stupendium, was visiting, and they decided what I really needed was indeed pickled onion Monster Munch flavour mayonnaise. Yeah.
How was it?
I've not touched it yet.
That's the correct response, yeah.
I feel like I have to now that it's in the house, and I can't think of any food I'd want to ruin with it. So the best thing I can think of is to roll on my back like a baby, kick my legs up in the air, and just squirt it directly into my mouth as the male baby.
My first reaction is to go, oh, that's terrible, that shouldn't exist. And then I stopped for a second and went, is it though?
Or a bagel?
Could it be great? Could it be great?
Why am I talking about it? I'm gonna go get it. Yeah, I'll be back in a sec.
This is gonna end in tears.
Yeah, I'm
journalism to do.
A few moments later.
I don't know where they've put it. After all that fucking build, I don't know where they've put it. And I did find a bottle of fruit salad dessert sauce, which I didn't bring over because I didn't find that interesting enough. But my hands are now sticky from touching that. Anyone who knows me knows what I'm like about sticky texture. I hate this. I'm going to have to dip that in my pint glass with water in it. And now my water is going to taste faintly of fruit salad, which actually won't be a problem because I was bigging up fruit salad water earlier. So I guess it's all come full circle. Hello, everyone.
Hey everyone, welcome to Podquisition. We talk about video games sometimes. Some of them will probably be ones that Steph hasn't played, so if during one of those you want to have another hunt for your,
I may do that.
your pickled onions, you're welcome.
I may go on a pickle hunt. I know that two of the games we've both played, Laura.
Yeah?
And I know one game I haven't played, and I'm not going to linger on it, but I did want to just very quickly bring up that despite being excited for it, I have not played Ninja Gaiden 4 because I forgot that that is one of the many things that Microsoft has gotten its sticky fucking hands all over. And when you're not touching Microsoft's products because of their whole love of aiding and abetting a genocide, you really gain an appreciation for how much of the game industry that company has gotten its grubby little mitts on.
Right.
Like, The Outer Worlds 2, I ain't touching that. And by the way, listeners, because I had someone, I think, fixing up for an argument on Blue Sky when I was talking about this. Not a super duper serious argument, but trying to make the point of, oh, boycotts don't work and all of that. And oh, it's a shame if you're not reviewing Ninja Gaiden 4 because it's really good. And I'm like, look, I'm not here to tell you not to buy Microsoft products. I'd advise it. But this is not a stand-making thing for me. Not purely. The pure core of this is a personal inability to justify it to myself.
Yeah,
I can't do that.
I fucking hate this boycotts don't work argument. I don't give a shit whether or not the boycott works. I mean, sure, that'd be fine if it did, but I have a personal moral objection to what the company is doing, and that's why I'm choosing not to participate.
Exactly. Like, I don't necessarily believe boycotts work most of the time, especially in the games industry. I really don't. I made a video many years ago, I mean, we're talking like escapist years ago, to that effect, which I almost regret doing now because I do think that was responsible for fueling some of the complacency that we get from folks. But yeah, this is a choice not to participate. I would absolutely not want to discuss Microsoft's games beyond the context of the genocide they're aiding and abetting.
In this regard, I have had people asking me recently, and I'm going to use the words I was asked with, like, don't jump on the words I'm about to use because I will get to them.
Yeah.
I've had people ask, oh, are you going to go back to reviewing Xbox games now the genocide is over?
Oh. To
which I would say, hey, anyone paying attention? Yeah, it's a bit fucking early to be saying that genocide is, quote, over, particularly considering how much bombing has continued to happen post-ceasefire. But also, even if miraculously everything goes perfectly from here on out, everything that happened still happened, and Xbox still felt no obligation to not be complicit in that. And, like, that doesn't instantly end magically, and at some point maybe I go back to covering Xbox stuff at some point in the future, but I don't know when that is right now, because right now it still feels awfully fucking close to genocide-enabling shit.
Absolutely. I've always said, everyone has their line. Everyone has their butt. It's different for everyone. Personally, I think, and I am just speaking for myself, but I do think mass murder is a biggie.
It's up there, yeah.
Yeah. I'd say it's substantial, but I just can't justify that to myself. On the flip side, let me also just say that to that one person that was so distraught that I reviewed the Switch 2, that they posted about it all day on Blue Sky and acted as if I'd just supported Microsoft post-kill, I do have to establish certain perimeters. Otherwise, I will moralize myself into unemployment.
Yeah.
There do have to be certain lines. As I say, I think genocide's a biggie. I think charging $80 for games, that, by the way, I'm reviewing harsher as a result of that, because I've increased my standards. I don't think that's on the same level.
I feel like there's an expression that encapsulates this. There's no ethical consumption something.
There's no ethical consumption, fuck Bobby Kotick, I believe.
That's
the
one. That's the one.
Yeah.
Yeah, in order to keep doing the job that we do, there is going to be some degree of engaging with companies that we have degrees of personal moral disagreement with their actions, and there is a spectrum of that, and where we draw that line and navigate it is gonna have to be flexible to keep doing this job.
Yeah, it's not just genocide. Like, there are going to be other things.
Absolutely, yeah. Like, that's not the... Like, there are other companies I don't cover. Ubisoft, Activision, but sort of, they're the two other biggies because of all
although
the
Activision's
and
now
stuff. And, well, yeah, that's part and parcel.
Yeah.
I will also just say this as well, that, everyone's lines are different, everyone's parameters are different. The one, and if you disagree with me on that, if you do think it's disappointing that I still cover Nintendo's things, that's fair, I respect that. What I do not respect is what that person did, which is say, well, you didn't cover Ubisoft's games, why not this? Because the equivalence there sort of disgusts me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
People I know were raped by people at Ubisoft.
Yeah.
All right? That's very different from charging $80, which, again, I think that's disgusting. And have covered that accordingly, but they are in different stratospheres.
Yep.
But yeah,
Anyway.
who's been playing games this week? Who's played? How many things have you played, Comrade? So I know roughly.
I've
how
just
many
played
things we
one
gotta
thing
rotate
worth
around.
talking about. Yeah.
Okay, well, Steph, where do you want to start? If we've played two, you played three. Well, where do you want to start? With one of the things we've both done, or something just you?
Let's start with one we both played, because obviously last week was a huge week, which has seen me glued to my Switch. And I'm not going to belabor the point, because everyone knows that instead of Pokemon, I'm going to say Ball X Pit. Ball X Pit is fucking mega. I fucking love it.
I am having a great time with it. Brackets, I've not played nearly as much of it as I would like to, because it did release the same day as Pokemon, and you know me, Pokemon was always going to win that. But the Ball X Pit I've been playing has been fucking great.
I was surprised at how much Ball X Pit has upstaged Pokemon. Not that I think the new Pokemon is all that great. I have some very strong opinions on some of the, what I would diplomatically call inexcusable shit that's in Legends EA. But, you know, it's got enough of a compelling gameplay loop, and it's got Ekans in it. And I got Ball X Pit as a palate cleanser on a whim, as just, this will be something I dip into in between, and I sure hope I've got time to cover that as well, because it looks a bit interesting. I have often lost the battle to tear myself away from Ball X Pit to make more progress in Pokemon. I have managed it on occasion, but often Ball X Pit has won.
I am the opposite side of that coin. I have put, since last recording Podquisition, I've put 70 hours into Pokemon.
Fucking hell. I think I've put that amount into Ball X Pit, like, legitimately.
Right, we've both fallen other sides of this line. And look, I can 1,000% respect that you have put that much time into Ball X Pit. I know that Pokemon has its problems, but when we get there, I'm gonna get into some fucking minutia shit that I've been really digging in that game. But yeah, tell me about Ball X Pit. What you digging about?
So this is a game that possibly couldn't be more designed for me. You take Vampire Survivor style gameplay, you mix it with a brick breaker game like Arkanoid, toss in some pinball and city building, and you've got Ball X Pit, and then you've got me hooked for fucking days.
I knew this game was going to get its claws in me when they put a demo of it out during Summer Games Fest back in June, and I played one round of it on stream and went, I have to put this down now or I won't stream anything else of the Summer Games Fest stuff. I know this is going to be a problem for me.
it's mega. So you pick a character, and I won't have time to properly get into the characters, because one of the most impressive things about this game is how it blows its own mechanics wide open with the characters. It runs on the trope of the mechanically unusual class, but at its most basic, you've got a play field, like a brick breaker, again, like Arkanoid, a little character that's throwing a ball, and monsters that are in little squares. They're almost like little potted monsters in squares, and they come down like in a brick breakery game. They make their way down to the bottom of the screen, and you've got to destroy them with the ball. If they get to the bottom, they start attacking you and dealing HP damage. They'll also do that if you get too near them. The balls have different properties. So, like, the starter character has a bleed ball, so that does bleed damage, which just sort of stacks bleed points and then deals extra damage if you hit them with a certain number of stacks. Basic stuff. There's a poison ball dealing damage over time, an ice ball that freezes them. Things get more interesting the deeper you go. First of all, you unlock other balls like the egg sac, which will split into other balls, but then you can fuse the balls together to have one ball type with both properties. So get the bleed, get the egg sac, you now have a ball that does bleed damage and splits, and all of those balls do that damage too. If you get certain types of balls and max them out, you can, instead of fusing, evolve them, which will create an entirely brand new ball that has its behaviour altered in a larger way. For example, the bleed ball, if you mix it with the iron ball, a better idea is the brood mother, which is a bug that sometimes spawns an egg sac ball, because I remember how that one works. If you combine the brood mother with the bleed ball, you get the leech ball, which will attach a leech to enemies that continually stacks on bleed. And there are many combinations. There are lots of balls that can do this stuff. You get the ghost ball that passes through enemies. Mix it with the poison ball. You then get the disease ball that spreads the poison damage. And as if that wasn't enough, you can then fuse those balls. So you could fuse a regular ball on top of, like, you get the leech ball, fuse a poison ball to it. Now you're dealing bleed and poison with your leeches. You can also do that with 2 fully evolved balls to make some big, powerful fucking mega ball. And on very rare occasions, there are some strings of balls that will let you evolve the evolved ones. But they're like, I've only seen one of those, I think, so far. But the combinations are staggering. The amount you can break the game. Like, this is one of those games like Vampire Survivors where it starts off, it's quite fucking hard, and eventually you reach a point to where you can absolutely smash it wide open with some really mechanically fun and interesting balls, and mechanically fun classes, like the Shield Bearer, which has a big wide shield and literally bounces the balls back like Arkanoid, or the Juggler, which will bounce the ball so you can put the targeting reticle anywhere on the playfield and it will lob it overhead and it will bounce, and where it bounces it then starts pinging around like normal. There is, and maybe quick spoiler warning for folks, just because it's such an interesting one, there is a tactician class that just makes this entire game turn-based. It just breaks every step of the action down into turns. And that's just an example of how much they fuck around with the core concept. And then between runs, there's a city builder where you have a little economy, like you plant little wheat fields, and you plant buildings that will give you passive bonuses to the runs. And the way that works is you arrange it all on a grid and then harvest by setting a trajectory, and all of your unlocked characters will then run onto the field and bounce around on your setup like pinball, collecting everything they touch. Or like if they bash into a building, they start building it, like they add build points to it until it's done. It is so dangerous how it feeds into itself. The building aspect is compelling enough and creates interesting things for the runs. And then the runs unlocks things for the building, and it is just, both of them feed off each other so well. And it has kept me fucking hooked. I love this game so much. I have been absolutely taken with it. I think it's fucking brilliant.
Yeah, I don't have much to add. You've summed up my feelings really well. It is such a simple and to-the-point core loop. Like, there is no bells and whistles. This is what the game is, do it. But every run has felt so different, and it is pushing all of the right buttons for everything is chaos, and I couldn't be happier about it.
Yeah, and once you start getting, like, some of the other unlocks, some of the passive items you can pick up in a run can be really cool. Like, one of the early ones is like a stone warrior, and it'll send your own little soldier in a square up the board. And you can bounce your balls off of that to create some fun stuff. And like I say, the mechanical fuckery with some of the unlockable characters, there are some incredible ones. They get bold with it. There is one Cogitator, I think his name is, and his whole idea is he's a philosopher doing all of the thinking. So he picks all the upgrades. Your job is to just move him around, and he picks the upgrades. And no, it's not particularly fun. Nor is the class that's an evolved version of that. But it's in it, and it's part of a game with many other classes, and it's just so mechanically interesting that the fact it's not all that fun doesn't matter to me that much. It's just interesting and clever.
there's a lot of things to go, this might not be at all your jam, but it might be someone's. So we're going to put a thing that's very different just in case someone enjoys that.
Yeah, and there's absolutely plenty of other stuff. Not since Bone Razor Minions, I think, have I played any of these sort of adjacent games. This one is quite different from many of the others, but has a lot of the same DNA. And I think not since Bone Razor Minions have I fucking adored a game like this.
Yeah, this is definitely this year's one of these that's really gonna stick with me.
I like that. Like, just this year's one of these.
Yeah. Look, if
is.
Devolver was only going to bring a single game to their, like, talking about games this year, this was the one game they were going to push for this year, they picked a good game to do it with.
Absolutely.
The demo didn't strike that chord with me. Like, I was not enthusiastic after playing the demo. This conversation has at least convinced me to buy the game and give it another go. So,
I will say, my first run didn't convince me. Especially because I lasted 3 minutes and was quickly overwhelmed. And there are certain sticking points.
Yeah, I gave the demo a pretty solid, like, run. You know,
Okay,
I did several passes at it, and I sort of saw what it was doing, but it wasn't doing it yet.
I can't guarantee this will win you over, but a thing that I think, like, the demo lacks in terms of showing off what makes this game special is that demo is so locked to the one basic character. A lot of it is is that good? I don't know. Of a lot of the other characters' starting abilities, where you see it described what they're going to do, and you go, yeah, that's not going to be the same game, huh?
Right.
And, like, that's where it starts to find its footing. But it is fundamentally the same core experience.
Yeah, and I genuinely can see why even someone who, like, loved Vampire Survivors or what have you might not gel with this one. I think part of what made me love it so much is that kind of how intensely it speaks to my interests. You know, I'm well known for my love of pinball. One of my favorite kind of old school games is like Arkanoid and games like that. Like, I love a good Brick Breaker.
Well, Brick Breaker was always one of those in this wave of, you know, roguelike type things that I wanted to see more done with. And so it appeals to me at a fundamental level. The other one is the vert shooter. I want to see more vertical shooters using roguelike gameplay.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
There's not enough of that.
Yeah. But yeah, what about you, Conrad? What have you been playing this week?
I have been playing more Little Witch in the Woods, which continues to be a casually paced, just lovely, charming little game. I managed to advance now into the second of what I think there's probably 3 regions in this. So now I have a whole new, like, bundle of creatures and plants to investigate and figure out how to acquire resources from. And the game has done a good job of introducing more elements to just ease the effort of gathering resources and maintaining them. Like Pokemon, this was something I meant to bring up last week when you were talking about Pokemon and the little tasks that would be in the Pokedex in Arceus. This does that also. You know, you'll get little grade points for collecting them in certain ways, or doing it the correct way or the wrong way, or every one of them has a unique one, and as you build up, you get rewards, and those rewards ease both the fulfillment of those goals and then later production by becoming available in an item that lets you maximize the value of the resources in their production and refinement, so that you just don't have to go collect them as often, which is really convenient and nice. And there's no limit to the number of those that you can purchase for your facility. It's great. It just keeps introducing these things that take some of the pressure valve off. You can automatically brew potions and make candies that you've done enough times in your pot. I never do, because I kind of like the little mini game associated with it, and also it maximizes the quality if I do it myself, and I'm like that. But, also that extends to the resource production later, things where you'd be like, okay, I'm going to have to process 5 of these things. Well, now I buy an upgraded version and I just set them to process and it does them all. It just has those quality of life enhancements doled out at a reasonable pace to make it not feel as overwhelming as it really could. Because now that I've accessed the second area, I'm looking back at all of the stuff that I just haven't done in the first area yet. And it's dense. There's all these side quests on the bulletin boards. And I have half a dozen cats I'm trying to make friends with. They introduced a wand cat toy tool. What am I supposed to do now? Every morning I have to go into the village and find every cat that I can find and play with this fucking cat toy. Because they do the little butt wiggle to signal when you need to press the button to pull it back and jump. It is so fucking cute. And all the cats have their own personalities, and they have cute art. And there's this character. I'm gonna play through this game because I can't wait to meet them. They made the cat encyclopedia that I'm filling in, and as I fill it in and meet these cats, I get these really beautiful, simple drawings of the cats, and they're all distinct. But before I've met them, there are crude drawings of the cats made by this person who had the encyclopedia before me. And I can't wait to meet them because it is amazing. They're these childlike drawings of stick legs and it's so precious.
I love that as a narrative concept. I really like that.
It's great. It's really, really great. I'm just having a ball with it. And the density is lovely. I'm going to be continuing to play it for weeks still. It's something that I can just pick up, play a day or two of, put it down, come back when I have time, which is, my gaming time is pretty limited. I only get, so many hours where I'm free. So it's been really nice to have something that I can dip in and out of and not feel beholden, not feel pressured. Just delightful, Little Witch in the Woods is.
Yay, I'm glad to hear. So, I'm gonna talk about Pokemon, and I'm gonna jump in and, dump my thoughts 70 hours in onto the table before, Steph, I know you're gonna have more complex thoughts, so I'm gonna get my, very niche stuff out first.
I'm not gonna get mega deep into it, just because I don't want to right now. I'm drafting my review for it, and also I don't want to yuck your yum, and I've got very complex thoughts that I'm not going to have time to really dig into.
Yeah. I get that it is certainly not perfect. Some things that, now that I have finished the main story and all of the research tasks and I'm into the post-game that I'm thinking about is, there is some weirdness around the pacing of the narrative in this game, in that up until, rank F, going through the Z to A rankings, it's very daytime, do your side quest, catch Pokemon, nighttime battle, and that's sort of the whole loop. And then you reach rank F, and then out of nowhere there's fucking plot all of a sudden. And some of the plot stuff I genuinely have really enjoyed in that. I think it is a fucking brilliant swing to have an entire side quest that is a 17-year-old got talked into payday loans and now you've got to do jobs for the mob. Fucking love that. I love that there is a side quest that the entire moral of is, it is always an option to say nothing when getting questioned by a cop, and cops' response to you saying nothing will be to attack you, and that's not your fault, that's just how cops are. I have been playing the online ranked matchmaking, online multiplayer mode for this a shit ton. I made it to rank A, the top rank in the ranked online matchmaking. The online matchmaking is basically 4-person free-for-alls, where you don't lose points for getting your Pokemon knocked out, but you earn points for being the one who gets the KO on other Pokemon. And there is a really interesting meta that, has been changing how I think about the combat in this game a lot, which is being aware of things like, does a move sort of plant itself in place and attack just in front of the Pokemon, or does it, do a dash forward and close the distance? Because that's going to be a way more effective move if my enemy is, backing away physically with their Pokemon so that, my attack's going to whiff. But also, which of my attacks have the quickest time from pressing the button to the attack hitting is really important for sniping a kill where it's like, oh, we're in a 4v4 match and I can see that person's on really low health, I want to be the one that gets that kill. Picking movesets that work for specifically competitive play against other online players has really shown a lot of the promise of this Pokemon's like real-time cooldown combat system. I wish more of the battles in the story mode took advantage of that and made me have to think about these factors, because playing against other human players, the moves that are effective are completely different, and that's very interesting. The main stuff that I've been very excited about, and this is again getting real into the weeds on this, I like shiny hunting in my Pokemon games. There is only one way to make shiny Pokemon more likely to appear in this one, which is getting the shiny charm at the end. Do a bunch of research, you get it. But there is a bunch of behind-the-scenes mechanics going on to make it very difficult to accidentally miss a shiny Pokemon, and I really fucking like a lot of these from a quality of life experience and like getting rid of FOMO perspective. So the quickest way I can summarize what they've done is, in this game, if you encounter a shiny Pokemon, there's a bunch of stuff that's trying to draw your attention to the fact that's happened. Sparkle sound effect, sparkle visual, there's glitter on it, a little sparkly icon when you lock onto it. But let's say you fail to notice that it's there, and you teleport away to the other side of the map. That shiny Pokemon gets saved into a little slot in memory, and there are 10 of them, according to data miners. And basically, the last 10 shiny Pokemon that got loaded into your game but you, didn't catch, they're gonna stay there. You could come back 10 hours of gameplay later after doing a bunch of story events and fast travel and day-night cycles changed, and go back to that location, that shiny Pokemon's still gonna be there. And that has done a lot for me in terms of, making me not paranoid about doing the thing that, when I was shiny hunting back in Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee, there was a moment I really remember of running in and out of a doorway trying to find a shiny, and just, my brain was on autocomplete after a few hours of doing this, and I start walking out of the cave just as I notice the shiny is there, and I didn't pay attention. I walked out, walked back in, the shiny's gone. That doesn't happen anymore, which is really nice. If I have to play with the sound turned off and come back later, I've not missed out on a shiny that was just out of my vision. That's really nice. There are problems with this game for sure, but I have gotten real fucking down the rabbit hole on it, and I am really enjoying digging into... I'm currently going through, trying out Pokemon I hadn't used during the main playthrough, and trying out all of their moves just to get a feel for what is their physical space and their, wind-up timing, and are there interesting movesets for online competitive I can make out of that? It's the most I've cared about online competitive in a Pokemon in a while, and I did not expect that to be the thing that was getting me really excited. So there you go, there's my little info dump about Pokemon.
I always enjoy listening to you talk about Pokemon and watching you live stream shiny hunting and stuff. It is one of the joys I get. Just because you make it very engaging, if I may say so.
Aww,
I very much enjoy that. So Game Freak disgusts me. Like I say, I won't go too deep into it just because there's a lot of thoughts I'm currently ironing out. I think that Game Freak have coasted for many years on goodwill that it didn't always deserve, and that complacency is reaching its culmination point, and I think we're seeing a lot of that in this game.
You are not wrong. I recognise that I am more willing than most to overlook some of that because of my specific level of attachment to some of the stuff going on. And you're not wrong.
and honestly, that's part of why I'm so disgusted at Game Freak, because I genuinely think that is being exploited and taken advantage of by one of, if not the largest media franchises in the world, making a game this fucking cheap. And this much of a step back from what Arceus was. And I mean, for fuck's sake, don't charge $10 for 60 frames per second if every building is going to have a flat fucking texture for a window and its windowsills. And bear in mind, that's a minor issue. And I can't spend too long on this because I've got to nurse my Ekans back to health after it couldn't navigate its way round a lamppost to attack an enemy. The pathfinding on this thing is a joke. There are many issues that I could point out as signs of cop-outs and cut corners, like, let's put holograms in front of shops because Game Freak didn't feel like rendering any interiors that day. But to me, I think the actual big offender is, I won't call it a stealth system. It is an approximation of stealth using existing mechanics because, again, they, I guess, didn't feel like making a stealth system. So battle zones are supposed to be, conceptually, narratively, they're presented as these paranoia fuel, purge-like areas where a trainer could leap out at you at any second. But because they didn't want to actually put in the graft to make that happen, all of the opponent trainers are just stood out in the open, and the only one who's got to do any sneaking is you. And the environments weren't designed for stealth, so you've got to hide behind what few bins there are, like an overgrown hairless raccoon, and send your Pokemon to attack their Pokemon because the enemy trainers can't see your Pokemon. And if you hit their Pokemon, you get the advantage. In any other situation, they get the advantage. Even if your Pokemon is a nanosecond away from biting theirs, if they spot you, you are punished because they could not think of a way, or could not be bothered to think of a way, to represent stealth in anything but the most bare minimum viable product way.
Can I tell you the most hilarious example of this I encountered while playing?
Oh, please.
There was a fight in which I, was attempting to sneak up unseen, and I launch my Pokemon's attack in, and I see it hit the enemy Pokemon. I then get told your Pokemon was caught off guard. As it's loading the battle in, that attack I did killed the opposing Pokemon.
For fuck's sake.
I was, quote, caught off guard by a Pokemon that was already dead.
Ridiculous. And that's in Fist of the North Star shit.
It doesn't annoy me in the way that it does you, but it did make me laugh. I was like, oh, that is a bit fucking laughable.
Yeah, and yeah, honestly, like I say, I'm not just annoyed, I'm disgusted at that. Stories came out about this one's budget and about the production methods that Game Freak's been employing, which is a skeleton staff on a shoestring budget. For games that still charge contemporary premium prices, I've been trying really hard not to imagine a world in which Pokemon had the same level of investment that Nintendo's first-party games have, because not having that Pokemon game makes me really sad. But there are many things I could point out, and will in the review, but that approximation, that joke of a stealth system, some of the most lazy shit I have seen in a while. That one element alone, if we just isolated that, I would say I am fucking disgusted.
I will say one thing that means nothing until we see how this actually pans out, but a shit ton of information was leaked out of the Pokemon Company a week, 2 weeks ago. It does seem like the game they have coming next year, they have quite considerably ramped up their development budget on. Whether that leads to a game that feels less cheaply made, we will see. Interestingly, I don't know how down the weeds you are on this. We know what the full development budget was for the last couple of Pokemon games. It is probably smaller than you would even think.
Yeah, it's pure fucking cheap.
I believe this had a development budget of around 15 million total for the entire game's development.
For a series that can afford... there's a difference, because I know some people have wanted to bring this up, especially because it's something I've talked about before, where, I want games to be tighter with their budgets, and I don't want bloat and all of this. But I will also point out, most of the misspending in the industry is the stuff being spent on executives and what they want and what just goes in their pockets. But when we're talking about the biggest media fucking franchise on earth, for them to not spend what they could easily afford to make a game as good as so many others. I mean, this game exists in a world where Clair Obscur exists. I love that game coming out. It is the best example to contrast other things against, because you can't say they had some advantage that the Pokemon company didn't have. No, this is cheap, get it out the door, people will buy it anyway kind of stuff. I won't say I hate the game. I don't hate the game. It's got Ekans in it. I am enough of a bitch that grants it some leeway. But I do also believe that if this game didn't have the Pokemon name on it, it'd be eviscerated for some of the shit it does. And I will say, I am actually somewhat impressed with some of the fans for actually not accepting this one as much. I will say, bit rich of them to have a go at IGN for giving it an 8 and not giving it a lower score, when historically them and other Nintendo fans have attacked anyone for daring to give games low scores. Like, don't pick and choose this, folks. This is the review landscape you all helped craft. But I am bracing less to be treated like the arsehole than I was previously bracing when I published my review.
Oh no, the consequences of my actions.
The critiques you have of it being cheaply made and corner cutting are not wrong. But also, in 70 hours in a week of playing this, I've never given a shit the windows are just like flat JPEGs.
Well, like I said, that's on the lowest end of my issues with it.
I've seen people pointing that one out, and I've gone, yeah, sure, you could do it like Spider-Man, where it's like a more photorealistic window. Would that make me enjoy this game more? Nah. I'm never looking at the walls. I'm looking at, there's a Pokemon over there. I want to go see what it can do.
At the same time, sure, have your flat, copy-pasted buildings. Game Freak, yes, you can have that, but don't then turn around and tell me that the game is so fucking intensive you need an extra $10 to have it running at 60 frames a second. You fucking pricks. And like I say, that's at the low end. At the high end, we have the laughable AI and the fucking joke of battle zone share. But at the same time, none of what I say invalidates 70 hours, which, if that's what you're getting out of it, then who am I to say that's not worth your money? Because
at the end of the day, I've had a bunch of people go, do you really think it's worth the money? Shouldn't, is it fair that Nintendo's asked that money? And I'm like, I'm definitely getting my money's worth out of it. So fuck it. My thought process has been, I've put in the equivalent of about 10 hours a day for a week and still want to play more of it. They've done something right for me at least.
Yeah, and like I say, it's not a completely shit game. I've gotten something out of it. And there is that baseline sort of, it's Pokemon, it has the cute things in it that I like, and therefore it gets some grace. I'm just kind of genuinely angry that I think Game Freak has taken that for granted over the years. And I don't think that's fair to anyone. I don't think that's fair to anyone that loves that series, that Game Freak is essentially showing fucking contempt with some of this shit. Like, to have that attitude of, we can do what we like and they'll buy it anyway. That's not an attitude you should have of the people who, like, made your franchise so profitable. But, that's the industry writ large, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
I am genuinely glad you're loving it, and I'm looking forward to catching your live streams on it. Like, I do want to make that point as well.
No, it's
also,
all good.
Can you help me evolve my Kadabra, please?
Oh yeah, no, it's all good. Also, do you want me to find you a shiny Ekans?
Yes, please.
Okay, I'll get you a shiny Ekans. I got the shiny charm now, so give me like half an hour. I'll get you a shiny Ekans. I want to very quickly talk about one game. Like, this is gonna be very quick. I played Yooka-Replaylee. The Yooka-Laylee remake remaster that came out.
Okay, I've got to say, I'm a real fan of remasters with really shit fucking names. I love that. I fucking
Yooka-Replaylee is the best fucking name. Like,
it's
the
so
best thing
tenuous.
I could say about this is Yooka-Replaylee is fucking great. The name is fucking great.
That's awesome.
As someone that really wanted to like Yooka-Laylee back in the day, and it just never clicked for me, it just didn't work for me.
Same. Yeah.
I wanted to give this another go. And I was like, look, I'll give it an honest second try. Maybe some distance and perspective will help me, at the very least, nail down what my issue with this game is. So very quickly, they've remade like a new intro section to it that I do think is some of the best content in this remake. It is fixed perspective, more linear puzzle platforming exploration content that I think is great. I wish there was more of that splashed throughout this remake rather than it being just kind of a new intro. They've changed some of the feel of movement and some of the basic movement mechanics in ways that I do think are improvements. Changes like not having a double jump anymore, but having your one single jump be a higher regular height jump with that same sort of double jump style ability to course correct a little in midair. That does make it feel better to play. It does look nicer. But playing this again has really crystallized to me what my problem with Yooka-Laylee was back in the day. And it really boils down to, when I think of what made Banjo-Kazooie great, and this game clearly fucking wants to be Banjo-Kazooie,
Yeah.
in a big part was small, contained areas for collectathon exploration, where it was very manageable to 100% an area before moving on. Yooka-Replaylee, or Yooka-Laylee in the first place, has kind of confused bigger levels for better, which I don't think is really true in a collectathon sense. Because if you're the kind of person that wants to be methodical before moving on to a new area, there is simply too much fucking shit to collect that it feels like you are kind of stagnating. It is not as short as like a typical level-based collectathon would be, not as big and grand as an open-world game. It's this weird in-between.
Plus, if I recall correctly, for as big as the levels were, there wasn't a lot in them. And it gave it this kind of cheap indie Steam, low-tier quality.
There's a lot of things to collect, but not a lot of memorable things to encounter.
Yeah.
But weirdly, the biggest problem I think I have with it, as someone that approaches, and again, for anyone who doesn't approach collectathons like this, maybe this will be less of a problem for you. As someone that likes to be methodical before moving on, Yooka-Laylee has a real problem with front-loading incredibly hard collectathon content in really early levels, in a way that, content that really feels like it should be endgame optional content popping up really early and making it really difficult to tick off those last couple of things before you move on in a way that just doesn't feel good to me. I am talking collect all of the little gems in a figure of 8 pattern under a time limit while doing the rolling animation to go faster, but you have less control if you're turning at that point. And if you miss a single one, you don't have time to turn back around and get it, you've already fucked up. Or do a rolling platforming challenge on a big high wall, jumping and bouncing and collecting all the notes under a time limit, and if you fall off at any point, because it's a narrow wall, you don't get reset back to the start of that challenge. You gotta fall down the wall and do a big long walk back to give this short challenge another go. Things like this that feel not well positioned for the difficulty curve of the game, and that get in the way of being completionist about finishing things off before you go, that don't gel well, particularly with the fact that this game does a terrible job of telling you when you've collected enough stuff to be able to move to the next level. You don't need to be collecting nearly everything in a level to move on, but the game does not tell you that. It doesn't do enough to go, you have enough stuff now that if you left this level you could go somewhere new and try some new stuff. And all of these problems haven't really been fixed. This is a better version of Yooka-Laylee. I would definitely recommend this more than I would the original. But it doesn't fix the fundamental problems I have with Yooka-Laylee. It only helped me to see them better. So yeah, Yooka-Replaylee, I gave it a go because I did genuinely I wanted to like it. I've always wanted to like it. I really like Yooka-Laylee and the Impossible Lair, their side-scrolling spin-off. But it just doesn't do it for me.
That is a shame. I felt very similar to you with the original, and yeah, it's a shame that this seems to just confirm it.
Yeah.
I have one quick one to squeak in.
Yeah, go on.
Because a new Painkiller came out, and I do like me a bit of Painkiller. I gotta say, I am surprised it's getting mostly negative reviews on Steam. It's not the most innovative thing in the world, and it's not the original Painkiller. What it is a fucking chunky horde shooter that works as a sort of, Left 4 Dead-y type thing, with some really nice fucking guns. Really fucking heavy guns. Yeah, it's a chonker of a shooter. I've been enjoying it. Like, that's all I want to say about that right now, is it seems to be getting a lot of flack, and I just don't see it. I've been enjoying it a lot.
Yeah. Is that everything we've played this week that we want to talk about?
I think so.
Should we wrap it up there, then?
Why not? I know,
Yeah.
folks, we've got to be places, so we'll just do it a quick wrap up. And Laura, people might want to wrap up with a blanket and enjoy some more great content from yourself. How can they do it? How?
Oh, they can go to Laura K. Buzz and find the stuff what I'm doing. Over on YouTube, there is a accessibility review for Pokemon Legends ZA that'll be up. That'll be up tomorrow by the time you're listening to this. Go check that out. There's a new episode of Control All Access you can go check out with me and Arevia talking about video game accessibility. We talk about a whole bunch of stuff to do with mobile gaming accessibility this week that's well worth checking out. Patreon, that's the one that pays the bills. Just Laura K. Buzz, you'll find all the stuff I'm up to. What about you, Conrad? Where are you out on the internet?
Oh, you could find me at Conrad Zimmerman on Blue Sky, and you can hang out with me on Twitch at twitch.tv/thatconradzimmerman. I'm on Sundays, Mondays, and Tuesdays. You can buy anti-capitalism propaganda and Jimquisition merchandise. New capitalism bad stuff in the store now. Go check it out. Really good design from Zilla. Excited to have it out there, so go check that out. mercenarycreative.com or thejimporium.com. And everything I do online gets supported through Patreon at patreon.com/fistshark. And you know who else has a Patreon? Stephanie Sterling.
That is correct. Patreon.com/Jimquisition, which supports this show and the web show, which will be back. We're going to have some details on some stuff with that, because we're just going to tinker with some branding on it that is going to be quite interesting and fun. But we will have stuff like coming up about that in the near future. Thank you all to everyone who turned up to Nebula Wrestling this past weekend. It was lovely to meet you all. And it was just a really nice night. If you're in Manchester this coming Sunday, the 26th, I believe it's a Sunday, it'll be the Halloween show of Pinfall Wrestling. I shall be in attendance. The commander shall be calling. Do come along and check us out there. Look up Pinfall at Pinfall Wrestling online. Get details of their show, Manchester, this Sunday. Other than that, you can check out my work in Vampire Survivors, Date Everything, and Quantum Witch. 3 games on the market at the moment, which I have done writing for. And that's that. Thank you all so much. We will see you next week. Goodbye.
Bye.
Bye.